Hello my friends, family, esteemed colleagues. Frequently now, more and more, as people are contacting me, they go with arguments, because a lot of these are younger people that were following Ionis, Argenis, and other carnivore gurus, or even doctors that went carnivore and promote this kind of a diet. And the information is not exactly the same. Yes, we agree that the healthiest food to eat is raw carnivore, but in there also goes eggs and dairy, which some argue against. Now I explained why we can do this, and again, if we are going on a approaching it from a quantum level, looking at it from its vibrational point, we realize that every animal product vibrates particular way, and if it's a natural that was not exposed to heat treatment, it preserves its vibration, which is vibration of the creation, same as our body. So when we introduce it to the body, there are no changes, and we are doing well with it. When you cook, you change the frequency. It changes as soon as food changes the color, smell, taste, the way it looks. It has shifted on vibratory level. Frequency was shifted, doesn't resonate same as your body, and it is going to create problems. May or may not, depends on the voltage. Again, I don't want to go too deep because we will sit here for a year. I was told and asked to do a little more detailed explanation how we should hydrate and how we should eat and why, and to be clear. Well, here we are running into a little problem, because there is no such a way to make one simple short video that is going to resonate with everybody, because we are all in different phase of awakening. And then any partial answer brings another 100 questions. And to answer thoroughly, we gotta write a book. And even that, by the time the book would be finished, new development occurs, new awakening, new truths will be available, which would have to be incorporated. Like my book is getting obsolete, especially when it goes talking about the Zumzula against things that I cannot say without being this thing over here. Okay, so when things go more into my consciousness, in my awareness, not so much consciousness, but awareness, I start paying more attention, then this opens another door of investigation. This is why, again, little politics, when you see Trump, whenever he presents someone, surrounds himself, pay attention, because very often he is exposing someone to look at, then we go, you see, Trump is a bad guy, he's with that. Well, he's exposing them, so you become aware, like Mr. Fauci over there. So I decided to make a video that will be more than one, and it is going to be about natural healing process and whatever it involves and how it works. And before we can even talk about healing, we first have to understand what is disease. But before we touch what is disease, we have to understand what is healthy body. And before we can even talk about healthy body, we have to understand what is body. Well, makes everything way more complex. How can you talk about healing if you don't understand the disease? How can you talk about disease if you don't understand what triggered it? And how can you talk about what triggered it if you don't understand none of this? And this is obvious that doctors don't understand none of it. So how can they heal you? Just look, every chronic disease, culprit unknown. Maybe it's this, maybe it's that. Research shows this. Why? Because they have no clue. Why? Because they don't understand even what body is. And then we are talking about organic and inorganic. And when I say body needs plasma, plasma is water in electroconductive state. And to be in electroconductive state, it has to be ionized. These ions in our blood are salts. So you can turn water into plasma by putting salt into it. But salt, again, is not what we are being told in medical school. In our body, the salt is not just natrium chloride and potassium chloride and acetates and magnesium chlorides and acetates. That's not true. But then on the other side, when I say that blood is basically like seawater, only different proportions and adding the blood cells to it and hormones and enzymes which flow through the blood. Then again people will know, cannot be, because salt is made of rock. It's element which is inorganic. You cannot have inorganic element in a body. It has to be first made organic. So how do you create organic salt? Through chelation, they say. Well, what did it change? Because when we talk about organic, we say, well, organic stuff has to have carbon. Carbon makes them organic. Well, our body, 80% of our body is made out of water. Water is H2O. Where is the carbon there? So basically most of your body is water. So now, water can be inorganic, but the salts in it have to be organic. Well, show me natrium chloride with carbon in it. People are brainwashed zombies, and we are made this way because of our indoctrination system, our schools. And everything that is wrong, it's easier to accept by population. Well, slap it some title. Let's make it Nobel Prize. This is absolute truth. All these things with Nobel Prizes, they're just smearing our eyes to accept lies. So, how do we get to the truth? It's not easy. This is why we don't know it. Okay, and why would I say is truth? Well, because I made it my business to research, and not through researching through what other people say or what was written about something, but researching from within. You ask, you should receive. And the process is not simple, because you have to devote yourself to this. and comes through guidance. Now, what is the body that you want to heal? It's perfectly designed electromagnetic robot. And there is no difference between organic or inorganic, because even atoms are not atoms the way how we are being told. They are energetic units. You can call them dots. And even dot, let's say smallest one that we know, let's say electron, actually, if you go close enough, it's another universe. It's another black hole. Because we are made of energetic dots. And the smaller you look, you find more and more dots. You look in the sky, you see sun. Gets dark, you see moon. Moon gets dark, you see stars. The bright stars get dark, all of a sudden you start seeing deeper and deeper, smaller and smaller stuff. Everything is made of dots. But closer you go and examine the dot, you start seeing that the dot is not really just a dot. It is a whole new universe. Our body, whatever exists in our reality, is basically projection, dream state. It's a game that we are playing. And what you see in the reality was created and actually exists in a quantum field, which is a field of pure energy. Once when you understand that you are expression of this energy, like a computer game, no difference, then you start understanding that, well, maybe it's not so much about the necessity of food as such. It is energetic, because it's all based on electromagnetism. This is why it's very difficult to answer the simplest question, because we don't have the knowledge and understanding of anything correctly. So how do you answer? If I go and answer things simplified way, just as we see it, well, you know, body is sick when it is toxic. It cannot perform well. You cleanse it. It gets clean and it heals, vibration corrects, and you heal. The question comes, yeah, but you know, I was diagnosed with osteoporosis. How do you do that? Well, body is toxic. When it's toxic, it doesn't work properly, doesn't resonate properly. You fix the resonance, body will be shown as a healthy. Doesn't matter. Yeah, but we need certain things. Body, you know, misses calcium. Well, what is calcium? It's mineral. Well, what is mineral? Well, it's a atom. Well, atom is energetic point. So you're talking about electromagnetic energy. No matter how you look at it, you always end up in electromagnetic energy. And the Google is made in such a way that it's loaded with programs, and the programs then are made in such a way to show frequencies in the way we see our reality. Now, of course, very few people can understand any of it, what I said so far, because we are just looking Okay, so what happened with meat and what happened with vegetables? They are vibrational points. They vibrate distinct differently. We are animal. We resonate more with animal stuff. Plants with plant stuff. When you look at a plant, you are looking at carbohydrate and sugar in a variety of ways. The fiber is cellulose, it's sugar. What they use for energy is glucose, sugar. They are usually poorly mineralized, but they can create acids which bore holes in a rock. They can liquefy the rock, but they don't make it organic. They absorb it, they don't make it organic. There's no such a thing as organic salt. So there are many things that we first have to erase from our brain before we can even accept some truth. If you want to simplify, okay, healthy body is when we feel good. But you can be extremely toxic and still feel good. You can be very toxic. You can smoke all the time. You can be drunk, drink all the time. You can have full head of hair. You can look healthy. And on the other side, you can have someone who is really trying the best to keep healthy and tries to eat correctly, but following the science. So a lot of vegetables, a little bit of meat, if meat, no fat, no salt. So they are watching their health and they start falling apart. And they are less toxic than the other guy. How does that work? Because the body, just take a look of some of my videos 3 years ago. You will see that I look like I'm my son. I have aged in 3 years. Extremely. And then some people comment, well, this is how it always happens. People look young, and all of a sudden they age. This is not true. Some people age slowly. Some people have the sudden changes. Why? Because whenever body, no matter how toxic it is, it may look young. Because frequency is maintained. Correct. But body is toxic. Why? Because voltage is high. Voltage is high. Why? Because we are not in fear. We are not even aware of problems. We live happy. So voltage is high. Everything vibrates correctly, even though it's full of junk. But as soon as you start your detox, the junk starts going into your blood. Blood becomes heavily toxic. And now it requires a lot of plasma to eliminate these toxins. And you start urinating a lot. You start having diarrheas. You start having fevers. You start sweating. You are eliminating. And as you eliminate, body finds opportunity to release more. Because we can contain huge amount of toxins. And once when you go into detox, you may be cleansing now for months, years, having strong detox effects. And your blood is being quite toxic because everything before it can be released out of the body has to go into the blood and then be washed away. You lose plasma. So you have to replenish it. If you stop replenishing, your blood dehydrates, cannot cleanse, the cleansing process stops. Simple. But whenever we are in cleansing, whenever we feel bad, because toxic blood has its symptoms, okay? Cannot concentrate, cannot focus, blurry vision, no animation, irritability, and then increased blood temperature. And then this is all toxic blood. Pain, headache, muscle pain, joint pain, depending where you have more concentration of toxin. And then body tries, it's bothered by toxicity, so tries to offload it. It needs plasma, so you urinate more, or you go into diarrhea, or even vomiting, or sweating. This is all releasing toxins. But we call this disease. We actually called our healing state disease state, because we are being tricked. And we are told, okay, take poison plants, we call them medicinal, and this is stop. This will stop. And you start feeling better. Oh yeah, I feel better. Oh, I'm healed. No, your cleansing stops. You can be toxic and feel great, as long as you are not detoxifying. And when you detoxify, this is very hard on the body. You feel drained, and you age. But when you detoxify, when you're done with this, or when you stop it, then you start again feeling better and looking better. Whenever I have a stronger detox, I look like crap. It drains me out. But later I feel much better. Sometimes even that is not the case, because I was feeling really great. The only thing, my joints were cracking, but otherwise I was feeling great. But when I stopped poisoning myself with cacao, because that was my last experiment, my body started really hydrating on cellular level and releasing. And I became so toxic that I lost hair. Big chunk of a hair here. This all got thin. And I'm still releasing. 3 years now I'm releasing these toxins out. Stronger, weaker. Of course I'm not very strict, because I know the phase in which we are now, and that we are now ascending and mutating, and we'll be able to fix ourselves simply by our thought. So I'm not concerned about any of this. And I still have my chocolate, not every day, but at least once a week. So, but we are misled, and this is why we approach things, everything, with the wrong idea. And this is why, even after watching many of my videos and reading many of my articles, people still go, oh, Darko, you know, I have a herpes here, how can I get the herpes out? Cleanse. Yeah, but I'm okay, I don't want to, I just want this. Oh, well, natural way, when something appears on your face or on a body, one symptom, your body is already highly toxic, because your body keeps adjusting genetically to the environment and copes with stuff until it starts having problem coping with stuff. But then you're already very toxic. And then you want to take care of the herpes, and you start following Celtius protocol, so you start eating correctly, and you start hydrating and cleansing, and all of a sudden you have diarrhea, you have a headache, you have a blurred vision, you have fever, you think you're gonna die. I just wanted this. Well, this is a toxin embedded in your cells. You have to go into deep cellular cleansing to get it out. It will take a little time, and when you are in natural healing, you cannot pinpoint the area. Your body is created to self-maintain and self-heal. And it is going to get there in every aspect. But you are going to be cleansing stuff that you didn't even have clue that you had problem there. And sometimes during the cleanse, actually you start developing pain. Oh, my knee start hurt. I never had problem with knee pain. Well, it was already deteriorated, and it would show pain maybe in a month, 2 months from now, maybe a year from now, but it's already there. But now with an increase, sudden increase of toxicity in the blood, thank God, this was the drop that spilled the coffee. Yeah, but I was cleansing, so I should have been cleaner. No matter how bad we eat, the blood is kept relatively clean because these toxins are not strong toxins. We are not talking about cyanide. We are not talking about, I don't know, lead, chewing on lead or stuff like this. We are talking about very mild toxins. Body really has no problem with them, but they do impede hydration, absorption of intestines and on cellular level in the body. And this makes more difficult for cells to hydrate and cleanse, and causes during certain lifespan, 10, 15, 20 years, you're gonna get there into problematic state. But then when you want to cleanse, well, you are dealing with general toxicity. So even if there was only one pimple that keeps coming in the same place and you cannot get rid of this, it heals but then it comes back and heals but it comes back. Well, this is your problematic area with a lot of toxins. And when you start dealing with this, when body starts dealing with this, well, it goes general. Blood cleansing, then releasing toxins from everywhere. They go in the blood, cleanse, release, until finally this gets healed. This is why there is a difference between targeted healing or natural healing. Natural is not targeted. You are not healing naturally because you are taking plants. If you are taking plants to heal you, this is targeted healing. You are taking particular frequency to influence particular vibration that is going to suppress what makes you feel bad. At the same time, it is poisoning the rest of the body. There is no such a thing as plant is improving cellular health. It ain't happening. It's always suppression, medicinal action, toxic action. So, if you want to pinpoint healing, there are other peoples to go to. Your body will remain toxic, but your thing that was problematic, that you didn't want, you regrew hair, you maybe got rid of, I don't know, some pimple, or maybe some stomach pain, or no more have constipation. This all can be done medicinally. It will come back, and not only in this way, but it will affect different part of the body. Then we say, oh, well, we heal that part, now this is a different problem. No, it's just the little problem grew a little bigger and affected a different part of the body. But if you want to go to natural healing, have your body take care of it, then you cannot pinpoint it. You cannot control it. It's a general detox and hydration and healing process. Body knows it. Only body can heal itself. We can help mentally, Because again, everything is manifestation. This is why we have to understand our quantum origin. Because we can accelerate the process, because ego will easier understand it and help you manifest it. This is how I spend so much time trying to explain how things actually work. So ego can use them for benefit. So when we are talking about disease, well, what is disease? Wrong vibration. How is that achieved? Through toxins, poisoning. So you want to heal, you have to cleanse. So I would stop this video here, and the second one is going to be how to hydrate correctly and cleanse. Thank you for being here. Until next time, love you all. God bless us. And keep in touch. Bye-bye.